And that's the impact we make on other people's lives. You do it all the time. You come up with people who say, Dee's reading this morning, all of you, everybody in here was like, whoa, that's something bigger than her that's impacted all of us. And we do that all the time with our interchanges in life itself, you see. Irving Seal, in a lovely book called Learn to Live, says that the creativeness of the spiritual mind is like the creativeness involved within the seed. We all have that spiritual mind within us. We all have that creative nature within us. And we all have something beyond what is actually in the seed waiting to unfold through us, through our alignment with truth, through our ability to tap the taproot. It's all about consciousness. Consciousness. That's why we come here each week. That's what the reminders are all about. That's what the classes are all about. Going to a practitioner is all about. To raise our consciousness, you see, to get to a higher level, to train our core. Now, I've heard about this core training. Anyway, to access our spiritual mind, to go to our core, does require some work to get to the high mountain. And the high mountain, the mountain that you talked about, it's in the affirmation. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the mountain, that's where all the illumines have gone. Jesus went to the mountain. Moses went up to the mountain. Dr. King went up to the mountain to see the promised land. He looked over and he saw the beauty. Moses was emancipated by the laws of God going up to Mount Sinai. Jesus went into the high consciousness of prayer to bring us this idea of love and to expand the idea of love and forgiveness in the world. And it takes time. It's not easy, but that's okay. People say life is short. Life is the longest thing you will do in life. Right? So since you're here, spiritual practice makes a lot of sense because what else you got to do? There's plenty of time to binge watch the next Jessica Jones, which just came out season 2. All right, great. And I will do that after my spiritual practice. All right? Dr. Holmes says this. I love this. An hour a day spent in silent meditation will not save us from the confusion of life. The 51% of a person's thinking is what counts. The 51%. I wish Patrick were here today so I could tell him about it because he talks about that all the time. How much time do you spend thinking about what you want versus what you don't want? If you're spending more than 50% thinking about what you don't want, guess what you're going to get? So that's what he's talking about right here. What's in your 51%? Because that's what counts. How much time do you spend in silent meditation with the divine? How much time do you spend in the secret closet of the high consciousness? When do you go to the mountain? Literally, John goes up to the mountain on a regular basis. You can figuratively go to the mountain in your own mind. You can literally go up to the mountain where there's a sense of peace and calm understanding that goes forth. However you do it. The connected life is one that does do it. The connected life is one that sees oneness. See, God is hidden around us all the time. It's like the squirrel experience I was talking about, or the experience you have when you look at a godchild or a grandchild or a nephew or a niece. There, hidden in that baby's smile, is the divine waiting to shine back at you and reflect back the beauty that you are. In every moment, that's available to us. So it's up to us to avail ourselves of it. It's the purpose of why we're here, to access that 51%, to align ourselves with Source, to tap into the taproot core that's part of our very being. See, we live in a very diverse world. We hear about the diversity all the time. We're in a place where the left and the right don't know anything about the middle. They use the extremes. This is another concept we got from Richard Rohr. They use the extremes to promote the other's extreme. They're so this, and I'm so that I can't be here in the middle, that I can't ask the question, could you help me understand what it is you're saying? Did I get that right, what you're talking about? When we go to the taproot, when we go to the core of our being and realize that we are all one in this thing together, live in a collaborative experience, we get that opportunity to ask those kind of questions, to move to a different space, and to allow ourselves to be part of this universe. I'm thinking about a verse like a song, and it's a universe. It's a unified verse. It's a song that's be sung over and over again, that's spinning round and round and round. And the one thing that it's turning around, the one thing that this universe is turning around is commonly called God or Spirit or the divine or infinite intelligence or the universal presence, that thing that anchors everything, that is hooked to the taproot that goes to our very core. And when we can see into the center of another person, we can know another person as a person and not as a thing or as an object, or from our connecting with a peaceful heart. What was it? Object, irrelevancies, and obstacle. Is someone an obstacle to your truth? Are they getting in the way of what you want to have happen in your life? Are they irrelevant? You don't even see them at all? Are they an object? Are they just a thing in your life? If you see yourself in those situations with seeing other people in those situations, catch yourself and realize, no, that's just God talking to God. See them as the God self that they are. And then we move into a space of healing. Healing for ourselves, allowing ourselves to do something more in our life, and healing for the other person. Back to Richard Rohr for just a minute. He says, we are naturally healed in this world when we know things center to center, subject to subject, soul to soul. So as you move forward in this week, if you do your spiritual practice and you tap into that core within your being and really feel that energy within you and get quiet for a moment and then walk out into the world and see the hidden wonders of God showing up as nature, as other beings, as other experiences, good or bad, even the bad ones. It's all part of life. It's all part of that opportunity to go, wow, that's an interesting way for God to show up. Check that out. But if you've done your spiritual work, if you've gotten down to that core and you know that that's what you're tapping into, even that is okay. Even that will guide you to a place of understanding, of knowing, and more importantly, of loving. Because that's what it's all about. And so it is. So let's do our affirmation. See how it had all those things in it? I love the idea of the moving of the mountain and the wide trails that we get when we go this, and to rise up to that level of higher consciousness that allows us to see the biggest picture. You want to see something bigger? I mean, when you're driving, you always look further out, and that's the better view. Always, right? So here we go. From the core of my being, I tap an inner strength that blazes wide trails, moves mountains, and raises me to new heights. It's our time for prayer. So we've been doing this for a while. I just want to explain it again because it's always helpful to get a little reminder. It helps me to remember as well. We use in the Science of Mind affirmative prayer. We call it spiritual mind treatment. It's got 5 steps. The first one is to recognize that there is this one presence. Then we unify with that presence. Then we speak our word with an authority that comes from knowing that we're part of that one presence. When we're grateful, we speak the word of thanksgiving. We're grateful for, not for God, because, God's God. God doesn't need our thanks. But what we are grateful for is our understanding of this process and our ability to use it. So we're grateful for how the law works and our ability to see the law. And then because we're so confident in how the law works, we can just go, hey, we spoke our word, we got faith, we just let it go, and we release it. All right? So knowing that, we're going to do this treatment together. And when we get to the realization stage where we know the truth, we're going to share that right now by speaking that truth into the word and into the room and having that already floating in the atmosphere, floating in the intentionality of the divine as we share this time of treatment together. So I offer to you all, if you have someone in your life that you'd like to pray for, or some condition in your life that you'd like to see realized into a higher level of truth, then this is the time to speak it out loud, give it vibrational form, and then we'll let that off into the law and release it into spirit. Are you ready? Here we go. That was a sweet wave. The power of the divine is right here, right now in this space, knowing that there's only God, and that God outpictures in this world as love and operates through an immutable law. We understand that that operation is working through each and every one of us, that God's Spirit is what animates us to the very core of our being. And so in this moment, we tap that core, and we use the nutrients of the divine to speak this truth for all those that we hold in mind, all those that we hold in our hearts, all those that we know are ready, willing, able to experience more God, more truth, more wholeness. For that is the power in prayer. That is the opportunity before us to speak this word of truth, to know that there is divine right action taking place right this moment, bringing about healing and a sense of comfort for those whose hearts may be broken, to bring about a sense of hope for those who are in this moment looking or searching. We know that what anyone might be searching for or looking for is already here merely by the idea that they are searching for it. For we cannot search for something that does not exist. So the urge that calls us to have that perfect and right relationship, the urge that calls us to have that perfect job, the urge that calls us to settle our debts and to be financially solvent and free of the worry or the concern of not enoughness, all of those urges are the complementary opposite of the having. And so we move away from what we think we don't have and accept what we do have, which is this connection to the divine, this givingness from Spirit that loves to give us the kingdom. It is the Father's good pleasure to rush out of the house, arms wide open, and to make feast for us all. So we gladly accept the feast with a sense of gratitude, a deep sense of conviction in the power of the word that is spoken and the power of the law to give, and the energy that allows us to trust enough to just let it go. We move our feet as Spirit does the feet, and so it is.